Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Deratailor, and on today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this trendy cute sleeveless top. And if it's something you're interested in, keep watching. Before I forget, you could see that this top has a rose flounce on it, and it is also sleeveless, and also you could also see that it has like a two-step draping on it. So that's just the description of this top. Let's just get right into this video without further ado. This is the fabric I'm going to be working with, color green, and I got it for 3 yards. And without further ado, let's just get right into the video. This is the front piece that I'm about to cut, and this is on fold right now, so please note that. And then what I'm just going to do over here is to take in my measurement. So my length for this blouse is 18 inches. You can see over here is 17 inches, and I added 1 inch for stitching allowance. So I added 1 inch for stitching allowance. So from the bottom point I came up and started marking my 18 inches for the length of the blouse. So that's just what I'm doing. I'm marking 18 inches all around, giving me what a straight line at this point. And after marking it, this is what it's looking like. From the point of this, I came down by 5 inches, minusing it as my off shoulder. So I minused it because this is an off shoulder blouse, so I just came down by 5 inches. So that is what I'm minusing for my shoulder. So that is going to serve as my original length now. So this is my original length, and the other one is cancelled. This is what I'm going to be working with currently. Now you can see that after minusing 5 inches, the main length is giving me 12 and a half. So this is what I'm going to be using for my length now. 12 and a half is the length. So what I'm just going to do now, this is the front piece. Remember, we've not yet cut out the back. I went in to take my bust circumference divided by 4, and I marked it at the top point. So that's my bust circumference division I took here, and then I chalked it down, and I came down at the bottom point, and then I'm going to be marking my waist circumference divided by 4. So my waist is divided by 4, and it gave me what it gave. And then I'm going to go ahead to connect the lines together using my ruler. I'm just going to connect the lines together, the bust circumference measurement and the waist circumference measurement. Remember, this is the front piece. We have not yet cut out the back piece. After doing this, I went ahead to add in a few inches for my allowance. So for your own allowance, you can go out by 1.5 inch is okay for your allowance. And then I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the excesses starting from that point. And after cutting it out, this is what it's looking like. I'm just going to place it on another fabric, and here I do have my back piece. You can see this area I'm running my finger through is my zipper allowance area, and the length for it, that's the width of it, is 1.5 inch also. So I went ahead to open up the zipper allowance area. You could see how I teared it open. That's just what I did at that point. The next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to be presenting my lining. So I went ahead to cut out a lining for the front using the same piece, that's the same fabric piece, and I also repeated the same thing for the back. So this is my lining for the front, and I also have for the back also. Now for this front area, what I'm just going to do is to start marking out my dart measurement, taking my dart measurement. Of course, I minus 5 inches, and after minusing 5 inches, I'm going to be indicating my under bust, and my under bust is 10.5. That is where my dart is going to be starting from. I went ahead to indicate it like I said before, and then I'm going to be dividing my nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 7.5 inch, so I'm dividing it by 2, and it gave me 3 and some few inch. You could see 7.5. I folded my tape into 2, and it gave me 3 and some few inches. Now this is just what I'm going to do. I'm going to place it from the top point, and then I'm going to come down by the 3 inches. That's just what I did. From the point where I marked 10.5, I came all the way down by that 3 inches, 3.5 inches, and then using my ruler I connected the lines together. I'm also going to be repeating the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to flip it and repeat the same thing I did for this point. Like I said before, I marked my under bust, which was 10.5, and then I came in by my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. You can see what I did. And then after doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be stitching it, going in by half an inch to stitch it to the bottom part, and I'm also going to be doing the same thing over here. Now for the back area, I minus 5 inches. That's just what I minus like we did for the front, and then I came down by 12.5 inches. That is where my dart is going to be starting from. And then also our nipple to nipple measurement is what we are going to be going in by, from the point of our zipper allowance, where our zipper allowance started from. That's where we marked, and I also repeated the same thing at the other part also, you could see. And we are going to go in by half an inch to stitch it all together. I wanted my back to be a little bit curvy. I did not want it to be straight, so I just came down by 1.5 inch, and then I marked a little curve all to the end of it. Down to the end of it, I just made a little curve at that point because I did not want it to be straight. So this is just optional. If you're not okay with this, you can leave your own to be straight, but I wanted my own to have like a little curve, and I just went ahead to cut it out, and this is what it was looking like after I was done. Now that we are done with the dart, this is the dart for the front. I also made my darts for the lining area too. I also included that for the lining area. The same thing you are going to do for the back, you are also going to do it for the lining for the back also. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be joining the both parts together. That's this front piece. I'm going to be joining it at this chest area. That's this chest area. I'm going to be running a straight stitch at that point. Now this is also what the back is looking like, and after joining it, this is what is looking like. Now take note, you are not going to be joining the bottom part for now because we are going to start making our rose design on it. So before joining the bottom part, let's just go ahead to draft out our rose design. I went ahead to open it up. You can see the way I separated the lining from the main piece, and then I'm going to be running a chalk straight at the middle point. Now this is the front piece that I'm running a chalk, not the wrong area. This is the right area, so make sure your chalk is washable. So I then went ahead to get my length of my top, which was 12 inches. I divided it by 2 and I indicated it. It was giving me 6 inches after dividing it by 2 because I wanted to get the center point of my blouse. And after doing this, what I just did is at this middle point I came up by 1.5 inch because we are going to start making our spiral flounce now. So I came up by 1.5 inch and I indicated it at the top point after coming up by 1.5 inch. I then came below and also marked 1.5 inch. You have to make sure that you do not move your tape from that middle point. That middle point is where you are going to be getting your measurement. So that's the point I'm taking my 1.5 inch from. You could see that middle point that serves as my guide. So I'm just connecting the lines together, and you can see that it is giving me what a circumference, a round circle. So that's just what is giving me at this point. So I'm also going to place my tape at that point, and I'm going to be connecting the lines together. Just please watch the way I am connecting it together. After taking this 1.5 inch at this point, we are just going to stop there for now, and then we are going to come on top of the first circle. Now we are trying to create a second circle. I hope you understand. So that's just what I'm doing. So from the first circle, the area where we marked our first circle, we are going to come down by 1.5 inch from that point, and you are going to connect it. So this is just going to form a spiral. So I hope you understand that. You just keep going that way. Just watch the way I am doing it. I kept on marking 1.5 inch. Now we are almost done forming the second circle, and we are also going to do this to form the third circle. We are going to do this to form the third circle. Just watch what I'm doing. You can see at this point now I already came up to be marking my third circle. So we're already forming our third circle. All I just did was to place my tape on the second circle, and then I was just coming up by 1.5 inch. You could see now what I mean. I'm creating the third circle now. That's just what I'm doing. If you are watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, please do so by liking and subscribing to this channel. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Before I can go any further in creating my circles, what I just did was to take my body measurement, the same thing on the front. So just make sure that the chalk you are using is washable. Just like I said, it's not something that stays on the cloth permanently. Why I'm doing this is because I do not want to make my rows on the allowance area. I do not want to exceed the allowance area. So I just I just drafted out my body measurement so that I can just know what I'm doing. So right now you can see that I already have my waist measurement and my bust measurements, and then I'm just going to connect the lines together like we did before. Now you can see now that this rose design, we have not yet exceeded it. It's not out of where it's supposed to be. It's still in the size of my body. I hope you understand. Now this is where we are going to stop in making our spiral flounce. We are going to stop here, and the next thing we're going to do is to make the rose design now. To make our rose design, first of all, this is on fold. This is going to serve as a lining and my main fabric. It is easier that way. It's better you make it to be on fold than to do it separately. I then created a dot at the middle point of my fabric, and then I'm going to be making a cross at it. You could see this little cross I did at that point. That's just what I did at that point. And after doing this, the length of our rose is going to be, that's the length of our flare, just like a flare. So the length of our flare is going to be 3 and 3 inches. That's the length I'm going to be working with. Now this length is totally optional. If you want yours to be 4 inches, then that's fine because of stitching allowance. So I just made mine 3 and 3 inches because I did not want mine to be that long. I just wanted it to be moderate. But you can, if you want your to be more than that, then that's fine by you. So what I just did is, from that point that I made a dot, I'm just marking 3 and 3 inches all around the point. You could see what I'm doing. I'm just marking 3 and 3 inches all around the point, making it to form a circle. Just watch what I'm doing. We are going to stop at that point. You could see where we stopped making our circle, and then I'm going to be coming on top of my first circle, just like we did for the main fabric when we're creating our spiral flounce. You see, I came up by 3 and 3 inches again, and then I'm going to be connecting it to the previous circle we've made. You could see how I connected it. I hope you understand what I did here. You could see how I connected it. And then to form our second circle, I'm just going to go on top of the first circle and mark 3 and 3 inches. So that's just the way we are just going to be doing it. I went on the first circle and I was coming up by 3 and 3 inches. Remember, it's the same length you work with all over. So that's just it. Now for the space of this fabric, yours can be wider than this because my fabric was limited. That's it. So that was why it's not seeming as if it is wide, but yours can be wider than this. And if this is not enough, you can just make another spiral flounce and add to it. If it is not enough, that's fine. Now I cannot tell you how lengthy it is going to be. It's supposed to be as lengthy as possible. It's supposed to be as long as possible, so long as you make sure that it covers the spiral flounce you made on the blouse design. So long as it covers the spiral flounce you made at the blouse design, that's how it's supposed to be. I started cutting from the end part of it. I did not start from the middle part. You can start from the middle part, but that's going to be hard to cut. So I advise you start from the end parts of it. And I'm just following the chalked area as my guide. That's just what I'm following, you guys. And if this is not enough, you can add to it just like I did for mine. If your fabric is limited like mine, you can make another spiral flounce and add to the end of it. That's just it. You can add to it if yours is limited like mine. So what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to cut out everything out. After I was on cutting it, I did not separate it into two. Remember, it was on fold, so this is into two because it's going to serve as my lining. So that was why I did not separate it. I'm going to be stitching this upper point, and then I'm also going to be stitching the bottom point all through. So this is what it's looking like. I stitched the bottom and the upper point, and then I'm just going to be flipping it over and iron it. This is what it was looking like after I turned it over and ironed it. The next thing we're just going to do is to start placing it on our top. What I'm going to be doing over here is to be folding this part in. So you have to fold this in because that's the first part you are placing, and you have to have a neat finishing for it. So I just folded this in, and then I'm going to be sewing on top of it. Now this is the point that we are going to be starting from, the middle point. So you have to start from the middle point, not from the end. So I just folded this part multiple times. You can see the way I am folding it, and it is essential that when you are starting you have to fold it like this, just to make sure that the middle part is full. If you don't do it like this, it is not going to be full. So I just folded it multiple times, just the way you fold your rows. And after folding it, I placed it at the beginning point. Just watch the way I placed it. Now this chalk area is going to serve as a guide. That is the pattern I'm going to be following to be stitching. So I started from the middle point where our spiral flounce started from, and then you could see the way I am sewing on it. And what I'm just doing is, as I sew I pleat, as I sew I pleat. If you do not want to pleat it, then it's your choice, but then if you pleat it, it will be more fuller. So I'm just using the area that I chalked down as my guide, and as I sew I just keep pleating it. So just watch the way I am doing it. You guys, I'm going to be releasing the part 2 of this video as soon as possible. The reason why I'm stopping here is because the video duration, I do not want it to be more than this, because of posting it will be so hard. So I'm just going to stop here. And if you have not turned on your notification bell, then make sure you click on it so that you'll be the first to know when I post the part 2. See you guys on the part 2. Thank you.